whenever I've gotten denied by 272 jobs in my career. I keep track of that. The ones that would answer my emails back, I would say, hey, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm happy for who you selected. But if you get the chance, can you spend time with me so I can learn what I didn't do well?
Wow.
And that's how I learned how to grow. It didn't make me bitter that I was rejected. I just wanted to use that opportunity to get better.
Hello, everyone. This is Tim Brown, author of the book, Uncommon Athletes, Filled with Passion, Fueled by Purpose. And I'm blessed to have with me today a young man I've known and been blessed to watch him grow and mature into the man he is today. And that's Coach Maurice Williams, who's the head coach at Salisbury University. Coach, welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be on, and I've been a fan for a while, so I'm honored to be a guest, and I hope I add value to anybody that hits play on that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I appreciate that coming from you. I know you will, and just knowing your journey. And I can't wait to really for the audience to hear that. But first, let's go back to when you began playing basketball. And what was it about basketball that gravitates you to basketball, that particular sport?
Well, I'll get into that, but I'm going to say this first. And you don't know that I'm going to say this, but I tell people all the time, I am a harvest of seeds that were planted in me at a very young age. And Coach, you had a lot to do with that. You know, I'll tell anybody that listens to this, I don't remember anything you taught me about basketball, about dribbling, shooting, any of those things, but I'll never forget how you taught us about character. And that really stuck with me very, very closely for the rest of my life. And as I continue to grow as a player and as a man. So as far as that journey as a basketball player, I could go so far back, but you know, where I really want to bookmark it is, you know, my dad was really heavy into basketball, played Division I basketball, was a youth coach for me, and, you know, never forced me to play, but always just kind of kept it around. And I grew up watching basketball the early, mid-'90s, and that's obviously the Jordan era and all those good players. So I really fell in love with it just watching it. And then from there, my family has always kept us involved in church. So started out playing in church leagues. Then when we had moved from Virginia to Columbus, Ohio area, starting to get really connected to what you had going in the Columbus area, and especially at Mifflin Middle School. I remember those days. And, you know, from there, it just became something that I really loved and enjoyed. And I was really blessed to progress on and have a good high school career and a good college career, but a very different career, which I know you'll ask me and we'll get into a little deeper. And it's definitely uncommon. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. But that love came from this people that's planted seeds in me at a very young age. And that I tell people all the time, I'm just a harvest of those seeds that were planted in me.
Man, well, I appreciate that, man. It's a blessing just watching you, watching those seeds grow. Let's talk about your high school experience, and then you end up going to college to play college basketball at Frostburg State. Sorry about that. Could you talk a little bit about that, how you ended up at Frostburg?
Yeah, so my mom told me two lessons. My parents taught me two lessons, and I'll get to the answer to that question. But life's not a straight line, and you never know who's watching you. So when people read my bio, there's so many great things you read about it, but what you don't see is below that surface level, all those twists and turns that it took to get there. I'm a product of being cut from the high school team my sophomore year, and then being cut by two college basketball teams. And then the finished product is what people see, which are the accolades of leading conference in scoring, offensive rebounding, free throw percentage, and being voted one of the best players in the region my senior year. So I tell people all the time that those twists and turns, those pieces of adversity helped me grow to another level as a player that I would have never gotten to if it wasn't because of that. My high school journey, and I'm sure you remember this, Coach. I mean, I was a very lean 6'2.5" player. Most guys learn the game outside in. Because my dad was 6'8", I learned the game inside out. So I kind of had a really well-balanced interior play to my game. And, I was undersized on being able to use that. So, my game was very different. And, I really had to develop and grow, and I had to have a level of patience with the process, and going from 6'2" to 6'4", going from 160 pounds to 185, really helped me a lot. And there were things in my game that really showed because of that. But it was a level of patience. And, after the high school years, I got recruited by a lot of Division threes, some NAIA schools. Attended another school and thought that'd be the best fit for me, and then end up not making their program, or being a walk-on, and end up being released from their program. And then the second school, which is actually where I coach, the desk I sit at actually is where I was cut from. So I was cut from this exact same office. Now this office is mine.
Wow.
So I tell people all the time, my journey glorifies God, because it doesn't make sense to the common man.
Right.
And, and I'll be sitting in the exact same seat at the institution. Though I was not told that I could play at it. It's special to me, means a lot to me, and, really helped lead me to be who I am today.
As you were going through all those bumps in the road and those detours, what was your driving force? What kept you going? Why didn't you just say, forget this is not going to work out? What kept you going? What was that driving force inside of you that kept you going?
Vision. The Bible talks about, without vision, you will perish. So for me, like you were asking about these signs here, these are great reminders for me. I was this way, Coach, when I was a kid. I think every house we lived in, I either tore up my section of the house because of a little kid's hoop that I was trying to dunk on all day, or a bunch of tack marks in the wall of posters of things that I was doing. And I didn't know at that age, unintentionally, now it's intentional, is creating that vision. And there's something I just strongly believe in, is if you can dream beyond your surroundings, you can do something special in your life. So I've always just kept that level of vision. I've always just believed, in God's plan and not anything else. And obviously, though, you have your days where you don't believe that, and it's challenging. But, I've always kept that in the forefront of my life. And then, that vision piece is really huge. And that's honestly a huge, huge philosophy of mine as I now lead a program as a head basketball coach.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, where did your passion come from to want to be a coach?
Yeah, I think like anybody else, I've always wanted to keep playing. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't envision myself playing until somebody had to escort me off the court, whether that was with a wheelchair or pull me off. But I think what really led me to coaching was, while I was in college, I was able to work basketball camps. And most people kind of work the camps just to make money or do something outside of just a regular 9-to-5 job. But I realized working my first camp, working with like 9 to 10-year-olds, maybe, I don't even know, they were young, that I had this impact in their lives that I just really gravitated towards. And I knew and felt called to do this in my life. I've had good coaches, but I've had a lot of ones that weren't that great. So, there's an old coach that really poured in a lot to me. There's a camp he had. His name is Morgan Wooten. He's a Hall of Fame coach at a school called DeMatha Catholic High School. But his camp, he said, be the coach that you always wanted to play for. And I always hold that very, very close to me. And when I worked that camp, I really tried to give those kids the best experience of their life. And once I found out that you can get compensated for that, I knew this is exactly what I wanted to do, and I felt called to do it.
Yeah, wow, that's a great testimony. Along the way, have you been at John Hopkins, Eastern, Stevenson, Salisbury? But in 2018 and 19, the National Association of Basketball Coaches Association named you as one of the next generation coaches. How was that feeling?
Very cool. Whenever you're able to give, any accolade is great, Coach, as you know. But for me, I felt that was special because I was able to give tools to people's toolboxes. They asked really good questions on how I got to where I was during that stage of my life. And during that stage, my background was primarily Division III institutions, and I just got hired at a Division I school. So, during that time, just being able to share with people, here was kind of my dream. This is how I started, and being where I was at that point really meant a lot to me. It was special. And, I believe obviously being an African-American head coach is special as well. And, I just really wanted to use that time and that platform to give good information to help younger coaches like myself.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You mentioned that Division I opportunity at Longwood, and your first year, you turned that program all the way, you turned it around. Can you talk about that turnaround? How'd that come about?
Yeah, well, I work for a great guy in Griff Aldrich, and out of the box hire. Usually hiring happens from years and years of being an assistant coach or head coaching experience. But his experience was really unique. And I won't get into too much about how him and I connected, but, I gravitated towards that. And he's a man of faith. And I thought he did an incredible job as soon as we got there of these guys had to feel like winners. And this was a program at the Division I level that didn't win at all. I think there was 363, 62 Division I schools. I might be a little off on that. We were definitely not too far from last on that list. So to be able to make that jump, from the 300s to the 200s was a huge, huge mark for our program. But it was special to be a part of, and it really helped me learn a lot on how to come in and start a program and how to really lay down a solid foundation in running a program. So it was special to me. I loved it. Tell people all the time that was an experience that I could have saw myself staying there. But, I felt called to, and I always felt called to lead my own program, and it happened.
Yeah. How did that come about where you are now? Back, you talked about that seat where you got cut from, and now you're back sitting as a head coach. How'd that come about?
Yeah. So I'll rewind that back a little bit. 2014, 2015, I was hired here as an assistant. Worked for a guy named Josh Merkel, who's an incredible coach. Was named National Coach of the Year. He's at Randolph-Macon. He's currently at Randolph-Macon College now. But I came here back in 2014. He brought me up for an interview, and in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm never coming back to this place. I mean, they denied me from a basketball opportunity. They were my favorite school to play against because I didn't like them because of what they did to me. Right. And I was like, I'm not going back there. But I really fell in love with Coach Merkel's vision, his passion, and his development. And I knew once I came here and met with him, I was like, I have to get under this guy and learn everything he has to offer. So we had an incredible year. As you know, won the conference for the first time in 20 years, did a lot of great things. He had left and taken another job. And, I wanted to stay here. So I tell people I actually interviewed for this job in 2015 by just going to our administration and saying like, hey, I really want to be here. I put together this book. I worked hard on it. Right. And in the polite way possible, they said, we're going to open up the search. And that was a great decision by them. And they hired a great coach. But I think that first impression of me presenting a vision and sharing my passion really helped them know who I was. So, about 5-6 years later, this job opens up. I apply again. There's name recognition. There was an impression that was made. And then I was able to come in, and obviously with faith and timing, it happened that way. So I tell people all the time, I believe that first interview was back in 2015 when I just went to them and shared, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to stay around. And even though I didn't get that opportunity, I believe it definitely was a good lasting impact and first impression.
Yeah, that's a great story, and that's good for young athletes and just people, period, to know how you want to make sure you leave a place the right way. You left that impression. So when that opportunity came to come back, they were, oh, I remember him. He's the one who had that plan. Let's try this. Let's see if this will work for him. What a great opportunity.
And I'll add this too, Coach. Like I think, and I shared this with a younger coach as well. Like we can't allow rejection to make us bitter. We got to focus on helping us make us better. Mm-hmm. So whenever I've gotten denied by 272 jobs in my career. I keep track of that. The ones that would answer my emails back, I would say, hey, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm happy for who you selected, but if you get the chance, can you spend time with me so I can learn what I didn't do well?
Wow.
And that's how I learned how to grow. It didn't make me bitter that I was rejected. I just wanted to use that opportunity to get better.
Right.
So just really wanted to plug that too.
Yeah, now drop that gem again about rejection makes you what? I want to make sure we get that.
Rejection?
Yeah, that gem you said about rejection.
Oh, rejection, it can't make you bitter. It's got to focus on making you better.
Make you better. That's powerful. That's well said. That's well said. And you being a man of faith, and I know that one of the pillars of your team is faith. Can you talk about what that means in your life and what you're trying to impart to those guys on the team, anybody's part of the program?
Sure. So our core values, what you kind of see over my right shoulder here, I'm going to hit faith, but the acronym is FLAD: faith, love, attitude, and discipline. I coach at a state institution in Maryland, so we are not able to just throw all these religious values right at our students here. But I tell people all the time, those principles are all biblical principles that our guys have no idea they're learning. That's that seed part I was telling you about that we water every day. And during your 4 years here, we water that every year. But the faith component for us, what it really means is believing in something bigger than yourself. If you have that faith, so you know and have a relationship with Christ, you know exactly what that bigger than self really looks like. I coach guys that might not believe in that. So I'm teaching them as well, whether you believe in that or not, there is something you need to believe in that's bigger than you. Let's discover what that looks like. And coach, like since we've been here, one of my most special moments I had is we played a very good opponent, and we always would have these optional kind of fellowship times with the team if guys wanted to come. And I'll never forget, before this game, I had guys that were coming in there that never showed up, and one of those guys gave his life to Christ. So it was special because, again, I go back to that seed being watered. It was not me, but I believe, over a period of time and those principles and all those things, it happened and that harvest grew. So for us, faith is believing in something bigger than ourselves. And my job as the leader of the program is just to plant what that is for you. You might be coming from a family where you're a first generation college student and no one has a college degree in your family. Well, that faith needs to be in getting that degree. So, and everybody's different, but it's my job as a leader to reveal what that is for you.
Yeah, as you talk about that seed planting, sound like you might have a little farmer in your background, and one man plants, another one waters, but God gets the increase.
Amen.
We know that. I share with young people all the time, when you put that seed in the ground, that little seed, when you plant it, it's going to come up bigger. You're going to get more than you plant, but also you got to recognize that it's going to come later than you plant. It's not going to happen right away. And then that's what we see in planting those seeds. And these young men that the guys place you over, as you're developing these young men, what character qualities do you want these young men to have when they leave your program? What are those character qualities you want them to lead with?
Well, aside of those core values, faith, love, attitude, discipline, so FLAD, I always tell them my job is to prepare you to be a professional. It's your job to tell me what type of professional you want that to be. But we're structured to prepare these guys to be professionals. And some of them might be professional fathers. I'm now blessed to be in a situation having a beautiful young daughter and a wife as well, where I'm able to not just talk about that, but I could show them that. Yes. And I have guys in our programs that don't know their fathers and don't have relationships with their fathers. So I tell them our past doesn't make us bitter. As I shared, it makes us better. But like, this is the vision. This is what you can have as well, and showing them what that looks like. So that professionalism, is something that's really important that we want to teach our guys. Be on time, be respectful, leave things better than you found it. You never know who's watching you. And then lastly, coach, we talk a lot about the word win. And we wear these bracelets here. You can kind of see it there. But we've taken the I out of everything in our program and replaced it with the number one. And really what that means is we got to take a collection of individuals every year and have them focused on one thing. And for us, we want to win every day. And winning every day means Did you do one thing to help yourself get better? Did you do one thing to help a teammate get better? And then did you do one thing to help someone else's life better that does not benefit you in any way? And we just believe over a period of time, just like any growth, it's incremental. Something great's going to happen in your life. And right now, I have a group of guys where that relates to basketball. When it's done, that's going to relate to a lot of different areas in their life.
Wow. Boy, you just a young sage there, boy. You dropping some gems, way beyond your years. This has been a wonderful conversation. Lastly, can you leave a word of encouragement during these particular times that we're living in now to young student athletes aspiring to play at that next level, that collegiate level? What word would you leave with them?
Yeah, this one, and I live it and I've lived it. Adversity will give you an opportunity or write you a ticket to take you to a level that you would never be able to go on your own. And it's all about how you use it and holding on long enough to see it all the way through. And, there's so many sports analogies we can use like that. The University of Virginia losing to a 16 seed. I share with you parts of my story, but it's true. That's what adversity is for. I tell people all the time, and I was just talking to a player about this yesterday. We love the result of growth. We don't like the process of growth. The process of growth is very uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, but the result of growth, it's over and you realize I got better. So it's really understanding that there's going to be a process of it that doesn't feel good. You're not going to like it, but it's going to be of value to you if you just hold on.
Wow, that's powerful. Well, I want to thank you for this. I want to encourage you that the words that you're speaking to those young men are planting some great seeds in them. And I've learned so much from you just listening right now. I got about 5 things I'm gonna use, just from this interview. But it's a blessing that those guys get to hear that every day. How blessed they are. But not only get to hear it, but they get to see it. They get to see a positive African-American man, who's married with a daughter, who's leading a life that's pleasing, not just to the university, but pleasing to God. And that's the most important thing, seeing a God-fearing man who's living a life, who's not just talking about it, but you're walking out your faith each and every day. And so I want to applaud you for that. And I want to encourage you to continue on that path that God has for you. And I know the vision is bigger than we can even imagine, And I think, older saints would say, as we look back over our life, we know that it had to be, if it wasn't for the Lord on our side, where would we be? And I know the Lord has been on your side all the way through, and he'll continue to be on your side. So I want to thank you for this time, and I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today. So Coach Mo, it's good having you in the fraternity now, good having you as one of the coaches, and I appreciate all that you're doing. Be blessed now.
Thank you, Coach. It was great. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day now.
You too.